morning, good afternoon, good night in podcast land, as well as the YouTube squad. Shout out to y'all. This is Lane Pipe with the PVC Crew. So for my people listening along with the podcast, this is episode 16. But on the video, this is the inaugural one. So I got the boys with me. I got the PVC Crew with me. Like always, if y'all been listening along, I'm going to start with my man, Paul. Paul, say what's up to the people.
What's up, everybody? We tuning in. Episode 16, going through 17. Can't believe it.
16-1, So that's my boy Paul. Y'all, you get a chance to put a name to a face. I also got my man Vic in the building. Vic, say what's up to the people as well.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here with you all again. As always, this is episode 16? 16. Episode 16. Episode 1 for the video world.
Exactly.
It's a game changer for the PVC. Glad to be doing it here with my brothers as always. Now let me pass the torch to my friend Cameron here.
And y'all know who I am. My name is Cam, a.k.a. Mr. Nerd Boy Fresh in the building. Appreciate y'all rocking with the squad, of course. Oh, man, it's crazy being on cam. Y'all get a chance to see what we look like, name to the face. Don't mind your boys. You don't mind your boys' shape up. My shape up ain't right, but it's cool. Don't worry. Don't worry. We good. We good. I'll get the shape up for the next one.
Get that fresh cut.
I'll get the shape up for the next one. But y'all get a chance to see part of the reason why they call me Mr. Nerd Boy Fresh, because of the glasses and whatnot. Y'all know how we do. But
I just thought because you're swag.
Oh, it's all the above. I'm Nerd Boy Fresh, aka the Diet Coke hood. I'm all that.
Oh man.
So, but you know how we do. We ain't gonna change the formula. We ain't gonna change the format of what we do. So we're gonna jump right into the topics. But first off, Vic,
what's up?
You know how we do.
How we do?
What you playing?
So what I've been playing recently is the video game No Man's Sky just came out with an update called the Bounty Hunter update.
Okay.
Right. And for those that don't know, No Man's Sky is like it's a sandbox video game. It's open, you go explore. There is a bit of a storyline, but it's not really restrictive or heavy.
Right.
But I've been playing No Man's Sky because of the new update. It's a really fun game. Excuse me. I've been playing it for about 3 days now because it just came out. Okay. And I like it a lot because it added new ships, and whatnot, and then added a new, I guess you could say, storyline to follow. Okay. And then I've been playing co-op with a couple of friends with me on it, and it's enjoyable. Granted, No Man's Sky isn't my favorite game ever, but it's a nice game to play once. It's one of those games where you play for like a week straight and leave it alone for a few months. Okay. It's one of those type games, but that's what I've been playing recently. Okay. And then.
So let me ask this question before you jump in. Were you an early adopter of No Man's Sky, or do you just started playing now?
I started playing back in 2018.
Okay, so do you like it then versus did you like it then, and if so, do you like it more now than what you liked then?
It's certainly come a long, long way.
Okay.
It is by no means the same game that came out on day one.
Got it.
It is a much superior game now. It's actually worth playing. It's worth your time. Okay. And it is on Game Pass. So for those that don't know, if you want to give it some run, you got an Xbox. That means you have Game Pass. So you better check it out. Mm-hmm. But it's a vastly superior game now. Okay. Granted, no game is perfect, but like I said, at the very least, it's worth your time.
Okay.
Nice.
That's what's up.
Let me pass it over to Paul here. Paul.
Well, recently I've been playing some MLB 2K22.
He finally started playing. By the way.
Okay. I finally started, but what I do like about this one, because the platform set up is so nice, and they like you said in the last episode, Cam, the voice change is different, so which I thought that was cool. The commentary was good. The franchise setup is real nice. I really enjoyed that.
Who's the team?
I'm gonna rock with the Dodgers, dog. No questions asked right there. I know I got some. I might test some souls on that, but been playing a little bit of that. Okay. I've been playing this one. What was the name of that game? I told you.
Oh God, he's been playing Final Fantasy.
Well, I played a little. I haven't really actually started.
Which one?
He's playing
the new one.
He's playing for the bitches.
Apparently, but which Final Fantasy are we talking about? We playing 10, we playing 13, what we playing?
We're playing the one with the biggest titties.
Apparently he is because he can't even remember.
It's the one they just recently put on the Game Pass.
Oh, so you playing 13.
13, yeah. I just barely started. You know, I haven't really got into it. You know, I just want to see how it because I never played it. I played it on PlayStation once, but I wanted to see what it looks like now. And then it was one game I've been playing, something from the Ashes.
Remnant. I saw your
Remnant from the Ashes. I really like that game because it got a lot of action. Then you're shooting all the aliens and ghosts like that. The setup is real nice. The graphics is nice on that, and I haven't had a chance to play multiple players on it, but I recently started playing it last week.
Yeah.
I will say this: it's like a variation of Resident Evil, but you can create your own character on there, which I do like.
So, for those that don't know, the video game Remnant from the Ashes is like a very, very, very casual version of Dark Souls.
Yeah. That's a good call.
It's very casual. It's got guns, so that's a huge plus for me. Anything with guns is fun. But it's got guns, but you're fighting these eldritch abominations and whatnot.
And the cool thing about it, you can either use guns, or you can use your swords, or you can use your own fist. So
just square up.
Yeah. That's basically what it was. Like I'm gonna knock these ghosts out. Been playing a little bit of that, and I had to get up on my Sonic. You know that.
Oh, of course, I know you see that.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie yet.
No, real quick about Sonic. You guys heard the new Sonic release that's coming out?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I heard some up and down about that. I heard that gameplay might be straight, but I heard that the tier system in which they're going to release it is all bad. I heard
about that. The game itself, like the video game that's actually going to release, people are looking forward to, but there's a lot of different editions, and how they're advertising it is very poorly.
Yeah, and that's so typical of Sega. I was like, come on. You got a good game on your hands. It's like your flagship game.
It's just the money.
No, yeah, because they're trying to just latch on and get as much money as they can.
And real quick, if you want to know the best way to get the version of that video game with the most content, is you have to pre-order the Mega Deluxe Edition, which is about $50.
Right, which is now in a relative scheme of things, it's not a big price point, but in the scheme of everything, it's like, dog, you're still talking about a Sonic game. It's like, dog, how many times have we played this Sonic game?
This ain't 1996.
Facts. Talk to me.
But hey, it's still one of my favorite 2-go games.
No, don't get it wrong. I've always been a Sonic fan, probably above a Mario fan, believe it or not. I know people like Super Mario Brothers, and they play it to death. I've always been more of a Sonic player than a Mario player, and I've always been a little bit Planet player versus a Mario player as well. So that's always been my two go-to platforming games.
Yeah, like Mario's fine. I've enjoyed Mario, but for platforming, I've always liked Rayman. And then like you're talking about, I always thought Sonic was funner because of the speed.
Yep.
But like I said, those Mario games, they're memorable, but they're not the best thing ever.
I mean, I'll let y'all Nintendo fanboys say otherwise. I know, y'all gonna hate me for that, and I get it. I know I'm not saying that Mario's terrible. I'm not saying that it's not a top 10 game of all time. I'm not telling you that either. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if Mario's top 10 game, Sonic 2 is definitely a top 10 game because they're basically side by side.
I agree with you on that. But yeah, brothers, that's all I've been playing. Just a little bit of, baseball and women's finance. So, Nerdbird first, what you been playing?
First of all, I have been playing that MLB 22. The show. I've been rocking that. Been doing my the Angels, by the way. Let's keep it right.
That's what I thought.
I don't know why he's running with the Angels, because they got the Angels player platform on the game. That's
we got Ohtani and Mike Trout. Trust me. We rocking with the Angels. Anyway, but I did create my own franchise on there, so I do agree with you about the franchise mode. That's dope. I created my own character, so you do the road to the show. I like that a lot because that's really fun and easy to get into. That's cool there. But actually, my only downside is that the commentary is new, and if you really pay attention to the commentary, it doesn't match up always to what's happening on the field. So they don't have that kind of dialed in like they did for years on end. One of the things about Sony Studios, who actually make the game, is that they've been really good about putting out a top-notch product when it comes to this particular game. And I just felt that they dropped the ball on the audio portion. The gameplay itself is tight, don't get me wrong. the batting mechanics is great, the pitching mechanics is great, everything is great. It's just the audio mechanics, and for a person who does music, that has to be pretty tight, and that's the only thing they kind of missed on for me. But that's kind of like here nor there. But overall, I'll probably put the game at an 8. It's not a 10. It's not a 9. I've normally, like most other MLBs, will be like a 9 or a 10. They normally knock this out the park.
Well, you know how it is. It's on GP. Got
Exactly.
some run.
Oh yeah, no, and that's the beauty of it, because this is the first time that the game, like MLB, has been on every single platform. It's on the Switch. It's on Game Pass. It's on it's on maybe hitting PC somewhere down the line at some point. It's on PlayStation, of course.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, so they're actually branching out, which that's something a little bit different for Sony, because Sony has never really had a game that branch out that far that was their own. Because really, it's been like, well, it's a Sony game, it should be exclusive to us. I guess the days of exclusivity is going to be slowly coming to an end at some point if they're really putting one of those games out there like
That's
that.
a brighter future for the gamer.
True indeed. But besides that, what else have I been playing? I've been playing Gears Tactics, of course. You know, I like to move people. I like to move people.
Careful, master manipulator.
Nah, I don't like to manipulate. I just like to get my pieces together.
That's what they all say.
And that's and I guess to me that's word to my dad, because when I was younger, one of the things I learned to play first was actually chess and playing Gears. So Gears Tactics is basically like an advanced form of chess. So that's basically how I've been like games like that.
But with guns.
Exactly. I like to shoot stuff.
We all do.
But besides that, what else? I did get a chance to watch a couple of things. So, have y'all had a chance to see the Halo on Paramount Plus?
Yeah.
Not yet.
I got you get the free month of Paramount Plus right now.
Yeah, I got it. But I haven't watched
How'd
it
you
yet.
like it?
I'm real iffy about it, but I haven't seen it yet.
If this didn't have the title Halo, it'd be fine. It's one of those things because it has because it's got the title of something, like, well, okay, so it's the Halo TV show.
Right.
It's called a Halo. It's presented as Halo. It doesn't feel like Halo. And arguably, it doesn't look terrible, I mean, the Spartans look pretty dope. Like, I think they got that on point.
I got to give them that.
The aliens are a little ugly, but not terrible.
But they're not terrible. Because the Covenant...
The special effects are iffy. Like, they've made a lot of questionable decisions, like, making things CGI or putting in scenes of CGI that weren't really needed.
Right.
Like in the very first episode when Master Chief tosses his rifle away.
Yeah.
They didn't have to zoom in on the terrible CGI gun.
Exactly.
That was like,
exactly. It was because the gun, man, like the CGI was kind of trash.
You didn't need that.
Right.
It wasn't even POV or anything.
Right.
It was just straight up just like zooming on the gun. But it's not terrible. Like, with Paramount Plus, considering it's a free month, I'm lukewarm about it. It can go either way.
Does it seem slow? Does it seem slow to you? It seems slow to me. I watched like 3 episodes and they all seem slow.
I wouldn't say that it's not that it's slow, but it feels like there's nothing going on.
Right. And
because there's no sense of urgency. There's no sense of like danger or like, oh, we gotta go here and do this and this and this. No, because like anytime like a shot, or especially like with the Chief, it all feels like very like, well, this is just like Tuesday.
Right. Because everything seems like it's slow and methodical. Because when you're playing the game, at least to me, it's like the game, it's kind of fast paced, not super fast, but faster paced, where you're always constantly doing something. You're actually doing a little bit of exploration, especially in Halo Infinite. You're doing exploration plus gunplay, so you're always kind of under the gun a little bit.
So like take games 1 through 3.
Right.
Basically in those games, shit's hit the fan.
Right.
Here's your gun, go start killing.
Right.
And then from there, there's never a moment, like there's no break.
Right.
It's all like action from the beginning, action to the end. Because in the first game, you start off by your ship getting boarded, right?
Yeah.
The second mission, you're crash landing.
Right.
And then the third mission, you're infiltrating a ship. There's always something of import going on. So it's not just mindless action too. It's just, like I said, in the show, it feels like there's really nothing going on.
Right, because I think they took the Infinite approach where it was like, let me try to tell some story. And it's like, dog, y'all going too heavy on story. Now, I'm cool about them taking off the Master Chief helmet. I know that was like one of the big things.
That doesn't bother
but
me.
that didn't really make any difference to me here or there, because we know that all the Spartans were different. We kind of know what I get.
And plus, real quick, they whether this was smart or a dumb idea is up to the person, but it's non-canonical because it's the Silver timeline.
Correct.
So, it doesn't affect the main story, so obviously it doesn't affect Infinite or anything, or the games going forward. So, I would say ultimately that was a smart move.
Well, yeah, because they gave a nod, because if you watch a couple of episodes in, they gave a nod to Reach and a nod, they're giving nods to different games, so you already heard that they're, okay, they talked about Reach, so you already know that they're going to be doing something.
Funny enough, there's actually a Mass Effect Easter egg in the game.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Wow.
I saw that.
Yeah, there's a scene where there's a bunch of terminals around. I think there's one woman. You hear this announcement. And they say Commander Shepard.
Yep.
Can you report to?
Yep.
Can you report to something? And I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, they kind of
I felt like he was actually in the game. Huh?
Yeah, but that was from a completely different game. But but that's what 343 does, and I'm actually giving them a little bit of credit, because for them to put on a show and for it to get that type of run, it's not doing terrible.
It's just one of those things where I just feel like this way in general, but animation could have offered so much more.
Possibly, but I kind of like the real.
I'm not saying live action's bad. Live action can be good,
right?
But bad live action is bad.
Yeah, it's just I just think the dialogue was a little bit. I think it was a little bit too wordy. It's like, okay, because we played the game. I think that's kind of my problem. I think I played the game. I kind of have an idea of how the story's supposed to go, and opposite of what you saw in certain movies, you're not really getting that here. You're getting kind of like a real roundabout way to tell Master Chief's story.
Ultimately, I'll save my final judgment and final pieces till the final episode of the season. So we'll see what happens.
Indeed. But I also watched another show, another series on HBO called The DMZ.
Yeah.
So it was pretty quick. Now this one wasn't a long series, 4 episodes. And I'm gonna keep it a cool buck with y'all. I watched that strictly on the strength of Rosario Dawson. I'm gonna keep it a dead buck with you, only because she was in it. I was like, I'm gonna give it some run. But I did find out that it was DC Studios who actually that put it together.
That shocked me right there too.
Me off. I was like, okay, if DC Studios put this in, how does this tie into the DC universe, to the Batman universe stuff? Because
it's all connected, right?
Because I was
supposed to be.
Because I asked my buddy, I'm like, why is this DC, property? Because it doesn't make any. This has nothing to do with it.
I didn't think it had. I know they showed a quick nod to Batman with one of the kids in there, which I think her son. If y'all saw the show, I don't want to give it too much away, but the basic premise is that America's separated. There's one side that's kind of under regular U.S. control, and there's another side that is not under U.S. control, not governed by military or anything. It's called the Demilitarized Zone, which is basically takes place in New York.
DMZ.
Yeah, so that's why they call it the DMZ. It's called the Demilitarized Zone. But there's a mom who kind of loses their kid in the process of going and getting separated. The mom was in the America side, quote unquote. Their son was left behind, is in the DMZ, so she's trying to find her son. That's basically the basic premise of the show. Okay. I'm not going to give away a bunch of that, but I can tell you that they did make a nod to Batman in there, but nothing else gave any type of indication that it was anything DC oriented.
Is it ongoing or complete?
It's complete. It's a quick four episodes.
I watched a little bit of it.
But it was actually, if you watch it, it was actually it's pretty good. It has Benjamin Bratt in there, a couple other heads in there. I was like, okay, it's a good show. I just didn't see the connection, but it was just it was a high powered. The casting was really high powered cast, considering it was just 4 episodes. Ava DuVernay, she's the one who actually produced this, believe it or not.
Oh wow!
So that's why I said it was a lot of good things working. So the dialogue was good, the acting was good. Everything kind of pieced together well.
It just didn't
have no connection to the
DC.
To the DC. I'm thinking okay, if you're gonna do this, does this have a connection to
Because I was looking to see
a bad guy, are you going to be a future character that we don't know about that's going to hit the DC, like the Justice League or DC?
Because originally thought, I'm like, okay, are they setting up to have a DC player play in this, or is this just a build up, just to put it on DC? Because I was like, wait, okay, so is Batman finna come in out of this? But what you said,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, is this like the stage to be like, okay, here's a character, good or bad. Doesn't have to necessarily be like Batman per se, but is there a character that's going to come out of this and be like, well, I came from DMZ
to see what it adds to DC as a whole.
Now they could double back and get there at some point in time. They could double back and reference it in another DC movie and be like, okay, well, this is the character that we're pulling from the DMZ to connect to this, but just right now it doesn't have no connection. But if you just took the story in itself, the story itself was actually really good. So I watched that. What else did I watch?
Did you watch the Batman?
I haven't watched the Batman yet because I was watching the DMZ. I'm gonna actually double back and watch Batman tonight. I want to kind of watch that with like clear, full focus. Let me see. No. Because I heard some good things behind it. I heard some trash things though. I
liked it. I thought it was really good.
So I'm gonna ask this: y'all watch? Did y'all watch Batman? Both of y'all?
I didn't. He did.
I did.
Okay. I'm gonna ask if I'm a reserve judgment until I watch it. Who do y'all think played the best Batman?
So you gonna talk about new school or old school?
I don't care. I mean, all of them. Between every single Batman, who played the best Batman? Not West. Talk that Adam West talk. The boom,
for me,
pop, yeah.
For me, I gotta keep it 100. I'm gonna have to say Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton?
Yeah, played the best Batman.
Really? He was good.
Yeah, either him or Christian Bale.
Really? You really think?
I don't think.
So apparently you don't like the Robert Pattinson. All right, bet that's all. I ain't watching it. I'm good.
No. Don't get me wrong.
Family. Y'all.
I like it. Robert did a good job. It was a little dark, but the problem is for me, it's just that. I really couldn't see him playing as a Batman character.
He should have sparked.
He did a good ass job. Don't get me wrong.
For the camera, can I keep it a bill with y'all right now? I cannot watch anything that has Robert Pattinson ever since he did Twilight. Can I keep it a bill with y'all? That's my whole hang up
You just answered my question.
That's my whole hang up about watching this whole thing. It's like, dude, you were in Twilight, one of the trashiest movies ever. I don't know if I like Twilight. I'm sorry, it's trash. I'm sorry.
I'm a Twilight guy.
Are you fucking serious?
I love Twilight. I ain't gonna
lie.
Trash. It was just for the bitches.
Trash.
But to bring the sparkle if I put you in the sun.
Oh man. But brings to the point. I couldn't like when they say Robert Pattinson.
That's why I can't do it.
But he did a good job. I'm not taking him away. He did a real good job.
Okay, he did a good job.
But see, but that wasn't the reason. I just wanted to see how. What's her name? The one who played.
Zoe.
Yeah, to see how she did.
I heard she was alright.
I
heard she was alright. But
it's just one part. It's just one thing I got upset about her playing Catwoman because she didn't wear the mask. Like, okay, was a Catwoman mask?
She wore because that's
the only thing that bugged me. I wanted to see.
Here's the problem because we already have, even though that version of Catwoman, the Halle Berry version of Catwoman didn't go off well because they didn't write that. They wrote that movie trash. I'm gonna keep it a bill with you.
Come on, dude. The cat gave her CPR. Now
right. Yeah, it was trash. But we have her image of being. We got three Catwomans that you could think of. It was Eartha Kitt, if I'm not mistaken, Halle Berry, and now Zoe Kravitz. And for me, it's hard for me to. I haven't seen it. So
at least Halle Berry looked like Catwoman.
That was my thing. She more looked the part. Eartha Kitt, from what everybody said, I didn't really watch the Eartha Kitt version of it, but everybody said Eartha Kitt did like an outstanding job as Catwoman. But this one, all the DC stuff was like cooking at that time.
Yeah.
But I think because we have Halle Berry in that, and she never really got a fair shake at it, if that makes sense. I mean, the one that she got was kind of like trash, and they really should have brought her back to really do it.
I agree with you.
I knew she didn't want to do it.
At least a mini-series or something.
At least give her another crack at it. It's like, dog. I mean, you could have put her in all kinds. You could have put her in the stupid Gotham TV show instead of Jada and put her in as Catwoman. We could talk that. That's it's a different conversation.
No.
But be it as it may, my hang up about watching it was literally Robert Pattinson, because I was like, dude, I cannot separate you from being in those trash movies. And then you was another trash movie called Remember Me, another trash movie. I'm sorry, it's just like I don't know what's up with this dude. And I'm not. And again, Robert Pattinson, I know if you get a chance to see this or watch this, I'm sorry, but I've got to keep it a buck with you.
He's got beef.
It's not beef. It's like, dude, I just, there's certain people that I just can't rock with.
You got that high quality.
I can't rock with them like that. There's certain people who are actors or actresses I just can't rock with. He's one of them right now. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't you see on the street. Fuck you.
I'm not with that dude. I'm like, if I pull up to him, if he pulls up right now, I'm gonna still give him a handshake. Be like, hey, look, I respect what you do,
but you're trash.
Exactly.
I can see that.
Talk that talk.
I can see
trash. It's trash. Is what it is. But anywho, but that's what's been going down. Outside of that, couple things. Let me do this. I need to do this because we're on camp, so I need to get this out the way. Because if I don't do this, I'm gonna get killed. I gotta throw shout outs. It was my mom's birthday on the 6th. So it was my mom's birthday, so I gotta, show love to moms, of course. We went to dinner and all that stuff. I just had birthday on the day of, but we're on cam for the first podcast. I gotta make sure I do that first and foremost. Secondly, for my boys, for my squad, for my cross culture squads, for my music group. Y'all know I have my music group, cross culture. So my boy Lino, his mom's birthday, Gloria, her birthday was 2 days after my mom's birthday. So my other moms. My mom's Gloria, happy birthday to you as well. My vocalist Deb, she had her birthday a few days ago, so shout out to my vocalist Deb. Hope you have a happy birthday. Then my son's birthday was a couple of days ago on the 18th as well. So shout out to my son. I know he out there. He out there. He's on assignment. He's doing his thing right now. But I hope you have a happy birthday as well. So we make sure we get that out.
Shout out to your son.
But but the squad's moving. That's the crazy thing about it is, like, for my family, most of my family's birthdays are in November. Or
that's me.
These birthdays are like dominoes, one after another.
Exactly.
That's like me and my mom, because mine's November 9th, hers November 10th.
Exactly.
The only thing, like, my dad's birthday is about a week apart from mine.
Oh, that's crazy. So y'all gotta celebrate birthdays like side by side with each other all the time.
We agree to celebrate on Christmas.
That's smart.
Talk that talk. But yeah, shout outs to everybody, especially my son out there doing his thing. I know he out there, surfing the country, doing it well.
I wanted to cut you off. I wanted to give a recent shout out. I don't know if you heard the story about the kid who got killed last week over in Long Beach in the Carmelitos on the basketball court.
Oh, I heard bits and pieces about it, but I didn't really get the story.
I know him. Like, I don't know him, but I know who he was because my auntie, she used to have a candy and slushy shop over there.
Okay.
And he was one of the kids she used to come over and buy herself.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, and then one of my cousins, he's actually friends with him. So I wanted to give my shout out, my condolences to him and to his family.
Indeed.
Much love and respect to you, Josh, man. Rest in peace, man. He was one of the kids on the basketball court over in Carmelitos. And one thing, I don't know physically what happened. I just know he lost his life on the court. So I just want to give my condolences and try to give my shout out to his family.
Yeah, which is crazy, man. Because it's like we can't go like days without hearing about somebody passing or something. Something to that effect. It's like somebody that in the neighborhood, family, friends.
Yeah.
It's like somebody. It's like constantly. Somebody's going at some point in time.
It's one of those things where it's like we all know it happens every day.
Right.
You just never think one of those days you're going to be involved.
Yeah.
Right. Or be close enough to these people where like, dog, it's tough to lose this person, tough to lose that person, which actually kind of like, ironically will swing us into one of the topics that we're going to talk about. So, in this particular episode, we want to kind of sit down and,
excuse me.
No, you good.
Yeah. So
in this particular episode, what we really want to kind of do is like talk about a little bit of life and death. We're going to talk about a little bit of that. So I am going to let my boy Paul lead us in.
So, life and death. So I remember I told you guys this story last week. It was a recent death. happened around last month now. I'm not gonna mention the name of it, but after his death, I kind of really learned something about this. I mean, I gotta learn that life is too short, and we don't know what's gonna happen to us the next day, if we're gonna be here the next day or not. But I respect this person enough to the degree that he made sure all his financials and everything else was in order, and if anything happened to him, at least everybody knew what to do. So that kind of really taught me so much. Is like because we don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow or the next day after next day, if we're gonna be here or not. So I always I'm like from right now, since I'm 34 going on 35, I'm almost in my 40s. I just want to be to the perspective like, okay, I might not be here the next day. Did I accomplish what I want to accomplish, or make sure all my pieces and everything, all my financial stuff in order, just in case if I'm not here on this earth anymore, or whether if I have kids or not, just make sure the people I care about is basically taken care of. So that's I wanted to bring that point out. So what's your take on that, Cam?
So we all know each moment is not promised to us. You're only promised what the Lord decides to give to us. I'm just going to be honest with you. So the only person who knows when that time, when that place, when that event, situation, whatever it is God above. He's the only one who knows that time frame. We don't know that. So we got to prepare as if it could be at any moment, but you don't live in fear of that either. So a lot of times when people be like, well, I don't know when this is going to happen. So they operate in a state of fear. Like, I'm so afraid to die. So I need to do this. I need to do it right here, right now, because I don't know when that's going to happen.
Paranoia.
Exactly. To the point where you're so fear-based that it grips you to the point where it's like you're paranoid and scared to die.
Yeah, isn't that actually a disorder?
To a degree.
To a degree.
Because the problem is that, a lot of people, they operate their lives on fear. And they fear a lot of different things. And we talked about this on many different episodes. They fear not having money. They fear not being in a relationship. They fear rejection. They fear, COVID. They fear death. They fear a lot of this stuff because all of it's basically connected to, one another. But why worry about the fear when you need to worry about living? You need to embrace life. So my question is, and I'll throw it back to y'all, what are you doing to embrace life? Y'all know it's a tough question.
I'm just,
What are y'all doing to embrace life?
I think for me, just influence more people around me, especially coming out of my shell more and asking more questions. Learning new things and building. I'm not gonna say building if I'm building a trust on certain because for me, I grew up and I told you guys about my background. I grew up without never had a father and stuff like that. So I always imagine I don't trust anybody. I don't let a lot of people get close to me. And that's one thing I had to break my circle with because I always thought it was just me against the world. I'm not quoting Tupac in this and that, but at a certain degree, you get that way because you figure like, okay, if I'm not accepted for this person, how am I going to accept everybody else around me? So to answer your question, I think just giving good feedback and giving good quality to certain people, and learning new things. And I think, it's good to a degree, just be like, what, I can break my psyche, or I can start, opening up to even people, I don't even know. And, 9 out of 10, it turned out to be a cool little friendship and this and that. Then you build a trust for certain things. So I think that was for me. That's what I'm capable, and I like to do all the time.
Well, for me, it's having stories worth telling, or making them, I should say, because one thing that's absolute is death.
Yep.
We are all going to die. That's a fact. Hopefully, no time soon. But
y'all just make sure y'all give me a good eulogy.
I
want y'all singing. I want y'all singing. I want y'all be singing.
All right, I'll sing at your funeral.
Yeah, you go. Don't want you to shut it down. Just don't be singing no Stairway to Heaven. Don't sing that.
I'll sing.
Say goodbye.
You know what? I don't know what it is about Stairway to Heaven. I can't.
There's certain songs.
You can't. Certain songs you can't play at.
I'll tag on to something. I'll tag on to something about that. I'm gonna tag on to something about that. In a
So you want to play Highway to Hell instead?
Hey, I'd rather play that. Go ahead. Lisa has some beat. Lisa has some beat to it.
But back to what I was saying. Yeah. So death is absolute. That's absolutely going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But before that happens, I'm of the belief of you have to have stories worth telling. Mm-hmm. Life is about making stories, or having experiences and then telling them. Yep. Whether they're good or bad, a story is a story. Something worth telling to other people. And if it's a good story, people will remember. Sure. They're going to remember what you told them. They're going to remember, the story. And in a way like that, word of mouth, telling people stuff like that, you don't necessarily die. You'll be alive in memory. So you want to have things worth telling, whether it's to friends, family, or even a stranger. You go up to, because it's happened to me before, where I used to take public transit, and then, weird dudes and whatnot, they would just come up and start rambling off on stories and things that they've done or they've seen. I never forgot their face.
Right.
It's something like that. You want to make sure you have a life worth telling before your time comes. Now, I'm not saying that you got to have a life of extravagance or anything. It's just make sure it's memorable. You want to make sure that you can be remembered.
All about times.
Because and that I agree upon, because I always tell you it's about what's your legacy, what are you leaving, and what you're leaving is not really about how much money you're leaving. It's what's the story, what is people going to tell, what are other people going to say about you?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that people wait until you're dead to tell the story. I hate to say that.
No. That is true.
People would be like, well, when he was alive, he used to be this person, this person, this person, this person.
Yeah. Damn, Kim, you took the words out of my mouth.
But why don't these people say it when these people are alive?
Because they're afraid. I'll tell you that. Yeah, I'll tell you that right now, because they're afraid.
Because they're afraid that if they, certain people are afraid to give people their quote unquote flowers, to give them their credit, quote unquote, when they're alive, because that's what happened. You see all these superstars when they're passing away. They're like, oh, but this was a great artist. They were this, they were that. What did you do to tell them that when they were alive? What did you do to convey that to them? Did you hit on their post and be like, oh, I respect what you do as an artist. Keep up the great work. No, you can easily do that to any artist at any point in time. They all see that, even if it's just a quick nod. But what are you doing to that with your regular people in your lives?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we're so caught up in this, I'm trying to just do well for me, that you got to be able to show something for it. And show something for it goes beyond you. It goes beyond just being an individual, being self-centered and absorbed. Laying your story is connected to others. All history books it's just somebody telling a story about something that happened in the past that they remember. That is your history books. Whether it's true or not, it is through the perspective of the person who is telling it. So, your truth is different than your truth. Y'all could both say things about me. Some of it will be exactly alike, but I guarantee you some of it will be different.
No, I agree with you on that.
Because each experience that I have with each of you individually as well as collectively is two different things, believe it or not. Because what we have collectively as PVC is one thing, But individually, it's different.
Different.
So you're going to be like, well, I could say this about Cam that Paul can't. My son could say certain things about me that neither one of y'all can. One of my ex could say something about me different than any of the above. Anything like that. And the reason why I say that is because, believe it or not, that all tells the story.
It's a balance.
That's all the story. They'll be able to tell the good, the bad, but I'll tell you what. But if you're living right, the ugly,
the
ugly, you ugly, I know. I see no Cam.
She goes, he ain't so fresh.
He just nerve boy, mine's fresh. But that's part of it. But what part of it is the legacy, and with legacy, part of that comes experience. And with the experience, you got to be able to figure out like what type of experiences do you want to have. This is the difference between going through life and living. There's people who go through life and it's routine, mundane, same thing.
Yeah, existing.
Work, job, work, home, work, home. Ooh, I'll go and go to this place to go eat some food. Home.
We're not calling anybody out.
No. I know my boy trying to be soft. I'm gonna keep it a bill with y'all. There's a lot of people who lives in certain neighborhoods who've never ventured out of their own city.
Yeah, I know. I live with someone.
Well,
I mean, they're not.
No. You're right about that. Yeah.
Who live in cities, and we're in California. We have probably the most diverse city, maybe outside of New York, that you could go to. There's probably like maybe 10 diverse cities in this whole world. We're in one.
I mean, shit, where we work alone, you'll see more than 5 different races.
I'm just saying that just in traveling to different places, you could see different things. We could be here where we are right now and be in Hollywood in 20 minutes. We could be in San Diego in 2 hours. We could be in Orange. We could be at the beach.
No, that's a great story.
We could be at the beach in 45 minutes and be in the mountains in the snow in 45 minutes. But most people who live in our area, who live in our same city, who probably live next door to us, has never known anything outside of their respective city. They don't know anything outside of Compton or outside of Cerritos or outside of Anaheim or outside of LA. They don't know it because they never ventured outside of it.
I got family members who never left Norwalk. I know exactly what what you're talking about.
They're not living because all they know is their immediate area. So they don't have, their perspective is, well, this is what I know because this is all that I've seen. This is all that I was able to experience and haven't had the chance to venture out. Even in a place where you can venture out. They probably shopped at there's people who shopped at the same market for 30 years. Who probably been wearing the same type of clothes because they've been in the same area, going to the same little swap meet, wearing the same little Dickies and same little white tee for a long period of time because you're so caught in the box and you're not willing to live. You're willing to go through life, but you're not living. You're not experiencing. You're dealing with the same people, the same girls, same dudes, the same clique.
Would you say it's self-inflicted?
Part of it, because part of it is there are certain people who can't go for circumstances. Maybe they got to take care of somebody, which prevents them from doing certain things. But I will tell you what happens in those situations because I know it's one of those things that was always told to me. Even though I'm going through something, don't let me hold you back from the experience.
Don't make me an anchor.
Exactly. You got to still go out there. You got to do your thing. You got to be bigger than this because you have something bigger to offer. Everybody has something to offer.
Yeah.
And it's not just one thing. It is a multitude of things. You have ideas, thoughts, conversations, experiences that you can offer that is very valuable to many different people. That's part of living too. And I think the problem is that people are caught up in their own little world about me, or caught up in, well, I gotta get money. So they're doing everything they can to just chase after money. or chase after said relationship or chase after said job. You got to be able to live.
Mm-hmm.
What's good having the money if you don't have nobody to experience that with?
Wow. Yeah. But my question is, Cam, if people can actually see that or change that, you think that'd be a different tone to their world or
Absolutely.
Their circle wise?
Absolutely. You want to know why? Because your circle A is going to expand.
Okay.
For one. Two, you're going to get experiences, so you're not going to be locked into one idea, one thought, one perspective only. Yeah. Y'all want to get real?
Let's hear it.
So, a lot of people get caught up being in their own little neighborhood, and they only see their own culture.
Mm-hmm. So
all they know is their respective culture. So if you're black, you know to kick it with the black people. You're Spanish, Mexican, you just kick it with your Mexican people. So there's always a constant divide because they never had the chance to experience what's on the opposite, even in your same neighborhood or even one neighborhood over. Because you're so locked into your area, your little box, your little world, that you're not willing to see what makes the other side good. The thing about going to see other places and experiencing different things is to see how other people do things, to see what their life is like. Because you know what your life's like.
Now, when you say that, when you say, people, go outside and stuff like that, do you think that it changes them to a different person when they step outside their comfort zone?
Because
if they do go to, certain places?
Yes. You want to know why? Because you're not going to always see people as, well, all guys are this. Okay. All girls are this. All Mexican people are this. All black people is this. All Asian people is this. Because everybody, when they talk about certain people and certain things, they talk in absolutes. And the reason why they talk in absolutes is because they don't know any better. Because they never experienced any better. They may have seen it in school to a degree because the school may have been somewhat diversified, but let me tell you about most schools and how diversified they are. So if you're living in Kentucky right now, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're in like countryside Kentucky, it's probably gonna be 80 to 85% white people, not white America. Maybe 4 to 5% black, 2% Asian, whatever it may be. That's their demographic. So they don't really know. So they only know other cultures or other situations literally by the 2 or 3 people that's sitting there in their school. Then, when they decide to go to college, they may go to a college. So let's say that person who's in Kentucky decides to go to USC. One of the most diverse schools that you could ever step foot into. It's in the city, it's in the hood, it's a lot of different diversity, a lot of different cultures, races, a lot of bunch of smart people. But they don't know how to function or respond because they've never known anything otherwise. And then they get caught up in this, and then that whole experience is kind of falls in their face because they haven't had to experience it early. Because they haven't had the diversity to even branch out outside of their own city. You could be in Kentucky, in the countryside. You could go maybe like 30 minutes away and go into another city and get that diversity ahead of time and really see what a college town is like. Because being at SC is like a college town. Going to UCLA is a college town. We're in California. We see this in a nutshell. But I can tell you right now, people who maybe live in Buena Park or live in Anaheim, you know what schools they go to?
What?
They go to Fullerton. They go local. Why? Because it's what they know. They don't take the chance to go to even like in San Diego. They don't take a chance to go to Stanford or go up north. You want to know why? Because they're scared. Because they don't want to. They're too scared. No, they're scared to experience it. They don't know it. I don't know the first thing about it. I don't know anything about school. Stanford is one of the best schools you can go to in the country. They probably have a 4.2, 4.3 grade point average to walk into there with a full scholarship, but they're afraid. So you know what they do? Well, I'll just go to UC Irvine. No knock against UC Irvine, by the way. Great school, by the way. But I go to UC Irvine because it's 15 minutes away from my house. That's the problem. Because you're not willing to take the chance to live. And part of going to different cities to do something small is to see how other people live. Not everybody is created equal. Not everything is what you see on camera and in the TV shows and movie. Compton is not as bad as what y'all think it is.
And that's the problem. Right there. What you just said, Compton's not, because people keep saying, oh, that's a kill zone. It really...
In parts it is. We're not telling you that it's not, certain parts of it isn't dangerous, but I'm going to tell you certain parts of it is great. That's the thing. It's not as bad as what people portray it to be. Yes, there's certain blocks that you cannot walk on, of course. Yeah. But I can make that conversation in the countryside. There's certain places you can't go in Idaho. You want to know why? Because if I walk up there in Idaho, I get shot. Or something happens to me, or I have a conversation. You want to know why? Because there is neighborhoods that are like that. But most people don't respond like that. That's just 2% of the world. That's the problem that people have, because people are so afraid to live life, afraid to have experience. I know people who've never been on a roller coaster a day in their life. Oh, yeah. I know certain people who've never been to a beach a day in their life.
That's sad.
People who've never been to the mountains to see snow a day in their life. And the crazy thing is, most people have access to all this stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you on that.
That's the problem. It's not the fact that they can't. It's not the fact that, I got to make a complete road trip. This is not people coming in from Chicago to come see Disneyland. You actually got to invest and do something. Now, that is an experience, to have stuff. If you have kids and stuff, that is an experience that you can have. But in the same conversation piece, most people are close enough where they can do certain things like that and it not be a quote unquote super mega vacation. For certain people to come to California, to go to Disneyland, that's a vacation. I understand it. I'm not talking about that.
Another thing is a lot of people tend to overestimate how much things cost or how expensive it's going to be. When in reality, it's a lot more affordable than you think. Yeah. Which is another thing that hinders them, going to experience stuff. Because my mother does it all the time. It's like, we won't do this. It's too expensive and whatnot. Because she wanted to go to Lucille's for Mother's Day, right? And she was like, well, it's pretty pricey. And I looked at the prices right then and there. You're not going to spend more than any other place,
right?
So I'm like, all right, we're going to go do it. But not having experiences because you kind of just you convince yourself that it's not going to work out. Or you're not going to have a good time, or it's going to be too expensive.
It's a mind.
So. I'm gonna teach y'all a little something today. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Here's the other thing I'm gonna teach y'all.
Professor Fresh.
That's perfect timing right there. I like the way how he got real smooth right there.
So funny he says Professor Fresh. So one of my nicknames on stage in my group Cross Culture is called Professor. So you kind of caught that without me even telling you.
Now we're learning some new stuff.
Y'all just learned something. But that's not what I was gonna teach y'all. So the thing is about living is that, and it's a lot of things in life, people close themselves out of situations.
They psych themselves out.
When you close yourself, I don't have to tell you no when you already told yourself no. Does that make sense? So if you already are given every single reason why not, I don't have to tell you why not. I can give you every single reason why you should, but the problem is if you already close yourself in your brain that, well, it's too expensive, it's going to be a bunch of knuckleheads over here, or, or even in and we talk about this in relationships. She's out of my league. She's too pretty. You're closing yourself out without giving yourself a chance. The problem is like we talked about before, is that you're so afraid of rejection is that you already are giving yourself the reasons no, where you should always be trying to give yourself the reasons why you should. That's living. The problem is we always tell ourselves why we shouldn't. We shouldn't do this because. Now, there's certain things you need to talk yourself out of. Like if you're trying to rob a bank or steal something or, sexually harass somebody. You need to talk yourself out of stuff like that. Let's go there. Yeah. You got to have some sort of self-awareness to know what to do when, of course. But when it comes to certain things, you got to be willing to take the chance, risk reward. We talk about this all the time, to experience it. But if you are closing yourself in your brain to say no, then you're going to say no. I'm too afraid to ride the roller coaster. It's a little kiddie roller coaster, probably one of the weakest roller coasters in the game, but you're too afraid to ride it. You're already closing yourself out to say no. So you've been doing this since you were a kid, by the way. So you got to figure out what is it going to take for you to say yes. One of the things that I've been learning across the years is, what are the yeses? What can I do to create my own yeses and give other yeses to other people? That's living.
Yeah. So
keep asking. Go ahead. We got some time.
The living part is out of the way. So now the death part. Me personally, I'm not afraid of death, and I ain't afraid of dying either. It's just the thought if I'm not gonna be here the next day. So, do you think certain people, they get just so pressured that death is just so scary to the point that just they just thinking that it's just gonna happen. I don't care.
Because twofold. When you operate in a position of fear, death is probably one of the scariest things to people. I'm afraid to die. There's a lot of things when people really comes down to it, there's a lot of things that people are inherently afraid of. They're afraid of dying. They're afraid of their loved ones dying, because especially if they're reliant or super connected to them, they're afraid of their loved ones dying. They're afraid of themselves dying. They operate in every single aspect of fear because they're already inherently a fearful person as is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But, as a believer, if you believe that you're going to a better destination, if you're going to heaven, you're not going to fear death. And that's part of it. Part of it is people don't know where their destination lies. They don't know what happens behind it, so they fear the unknown. That's a lot of people's fears. Like, well, I don't know, so I'm afraid of what I don't know. People always cling to what they do know. And people are not willing to take chances behind what they don't know. But if you don't take chances, guess what? You're stuck in that rut. So the thing is, if you knew without a shadow of a doubt that no matter what happens, that my destination is heaven, what are you afraid of?
Rejection.
What? To get rejected? To get rejected by God? Yeah. So guess what?
So
guess what? So now that goes into a deeper conversation. We may dive into it slightly. We'll maybe dive into it a little bit later on down the line in a different episode. But a lot of people, do you believe in God? And that goes into like a whole different conversation.
We could talk hours on that.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't want to dive into that aspect of it. At least not right now. We will, but I don't want to dive into it right now. But go ahead.
But yeah, of you, I'm a believer of the faith. And my own death is not what I'm afraid of. It's those who I leave behind. If I were to die within the next hour, a lot of people who depend on me are going to be devastated beyond belief. Not financially, but as a son and as a brother.
Yep.
That's what bothers me, is that if I'm gone, I don't know what's going to happen to them. That's where the fear stems from. My death, I already know it's going to happen. That's just life. And I do believe and I pray every day before I go to sleep that I am bathed in the blood of Christ when I am before God. But like I said, it's not me I'm worried about. It's the family.
Yeah, and no, because I'm on top, and I agree with you on that, Vic. That's something I've been thinking about too, because now that I'm not married anymore, don't have any kids, and a lot of people have died in my family, and right now it's just me and my mom. So that's been bugging me too. Like, if I go, who's gonna take care of my mom? And I love my mother to death. I know she gonna be all right. she'll keep it rolling, keep it this and that. But I got caught up in the fear because, when my grandmother passed away in 2007, that circle broke, and it got me good. My brother got killed. That shocked my whole world. I lost my uncle and my great grandmother. Just like everybody's dropping like flies. So I came across it like, it's just me and my mother, and then my mother go, or if I go, what's gonna happen to that person, and what's gonna happen to the other person. And I got caught up in a conversation with my uncle, God rest his soul, about this because he told me this before. He was like, if I die right now, what about my kids? I love my kids. Like you said, I wasn't the greatest father. I wasn't there the majority of their life. I was in jail, but my kids are my kids, so I can't leave my kids. And and I always get caught up with like, if anything happens to me, I want to make sure everybody in my circle, whether friends or family, always gonna be taken care of. So yeah, I got you on that right there, my brother.
And I'm gonna give y'all the best answer that I could give you. Because it kind of happened for me. So I lost my cousin early on at the age. When I was 16, he was 17. He got caught up in gang violence, and I lost him early. Lost family members, of course. Lost my grandmother about 4 years ago. Shout out to grandmommy, of course. Up in heaven, just like all the other family members that we have lost. But the one thing that I've always knew is that what they left me. They left me the knowledge of their memory, but also the knowledge of who they were as a person and how they did certain things. So I take elements of what they do.
I'm sorry, Cam. You just touched me on that one because that's something that my uncle put pressure on me because he used to always like, man, if I'm not hearing this, I need you to make sure this, this taken care of, this and that. And he used to, and I BS you not, Cam. He used to say this every day. He used to tell it to everybody, like, if I leave right now, I know my nephew gonna make sure I'm be all right. Right. He gonna make sure everything taken care of. This is why, and I see what you're talking about, like, what benefits you got out of everything that was taught to you.
Right.
So
in the life.
So wait, you said you assimilated some of his behaviors?
Not the bad stuff.
Well, no. I'm not saying the bad stuff. I'm saying the more positive traits of it. So as in a way, he continues to live through you.
Exactly. Yeah. So certain elements of what he taught me, to make sure that my cousins and stuff were looked after. That was something that my cousin did for me, to make sure that I had certain experiences that I had. Some of the early on gaming experiences I had, it was with me and my cousin Cody, where we would take a bus coming right off of elementary school to go to an arcade to go play some games for a couple of hours. You want to know why? Because he always wanted to make sure that he had spent a little bit of time to hang out with his cousins. So you want to know why I make sure I go to every single family function as possible? To make sure I instill in that with all my cousins too. So they know that I took the time to hang out with them, even if I'm just talking, playing dominoes, playing games. I'm doing that. And same thing with my grandmother. When my grandmother, who was making sure the family stays structured, to make sure we're financially sound, stuff from my grandmother. So I take elements of each one and do that. So what do I give? So if I was to pass away, yeah, I know that my family would be devastated. But here's the other thing that I know. I know my mom's gonna be fine. I know my daughter's gonna be fine. I know my son's gonna be fine. I know my sister's gonna be fine. I know everybody in my squad. I know y'all gonna be fine. You wanna know why? Because I've been instilling in y'all tidbits of me and tidbits of my thoughts and ideas. So I know y'all gonna be straight.
And right there, what you just said, Kim, another thing to hit home on me, because one thing about, and like I said, my uncle was everything to me, and he taught me so much. And he didn't have to.
Right.
He just did, because I didn't have a male figure in my life and this and the other. And when he finally came home from prison, and we got real close to him, to the point that I'm his son.
Right.
And he was like, all right, I'm going to teach you the game. I'm going to teach you what to say, what not to say, where to go, where not to go. I'm going to teach you how to drive, this and that and the other. Right. I'm going to teach you so much. And not only it helped me just to be a better man, it just teaching me stuff in life because he told me it's going to come a point in time you're going to be by yourself or you're going to have to make a tough decision. So I want you to be prepared. Right. And, you know, it's certain things that I can teach you that your mom can't teach you. And this and that. Now, not saying, you know, don't listen to this or this and that and the other, but you get the benefit of the doubt is where you learn from and what benefits for you, not just for your life, but for other people else's life as well, too. Exactly. So that part, for me, and I always thank my uncle for this, and God rest his soul, is that, you know, he took the time out to show me the streets, show me what to say or what not to say, prepare me not only for my adulthood, but prepare me just for life in general.
Right. But see, that's the whole thing about death. Yeah. Because again, in death, you can't be afraid of it because again, if you are living, you're not afraid of death.
And the cold thing too, and I say this like he knew this, and he said this is why I put so much pressure on you, nephew, because you know. Because he said his own kids couldn't do it.
Right. Because their fear. Yes. Because his fear was they wasn't prepared because they still walk around with a sense of fear. Yeah. You got to walk around with a sense of no fear. The only thing I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be dead honest with y'all. The only thing that I fear is God Himself. Yeah. I don't fear anything. I don't fear no man. I don't fear no situation. I know that ultimately. If I lost all my money, if everything fell by the wayside, if I didn't have nothing, I know I'm still good. Yeah. That's the thing about being with no fear. Most people can't say that. Yes, you're going to have an inherent apprehension about certain things, but ultimately, if you could dive in with no fear, that doesn't mean you be reckless having no fear.
No, don't be stupid.
No, yeah. I'm not saying I'm just going to jump off a bridge and I don't know. No. But I operate with no fear. Meaning that I'm not fearing death because I know that there's life beyond it. I know in death I still have life. I know that I'm going to heaven. I know I have life. Yeah. And I know that my squad around me has that just the same. So I'm not in fear of that. So I approach my experiences as such. I don't fear it. Yeah. Like I said, I only fear God. Yeah. God could drop down his wrath right now. I fear God. God don't let me into heaven. Yeah, I fear that. Yeah. I mean, and there's people who have the completely opposite approach. Well, I don't fear going to hell. Okay, that's your call. I'm not going to tell you. I ain't going to tell you what to fear and what not to fear. That is your call. That is the wrong, dumb call to have. Yeah. But I'm
plenty of room down there.
But yeah, I'm just saying, hey, that's on y'all. Yeah. But in the same conversation piece, you know, you've got to be able to know that you are giving the pieces out of you that are important to the people who need it. Everybody's not going to be in your life forever. Yeah. Certain people are going to be there for a time, for an experience, for a reason. There's been people in my life who's been there for a time, for an experience, for a reason. And I learned, and I'm going to tell you right now, even in situations that didn't turn out the right way, that doesn't mean that I didn't learn a lot from them, and I didn't appreciate each and every one of them, and I didn't learn and grow from them. Yeah. From past friendships, past relationships, past experiences, past job experiences, whatever. This is why I don't have no real well, I really hated this and I really hated that. Even though my first job was Jack in the Box, and I could say, oh, I really didn't like it. I worked at 8 o'clock at night to 4 in the morning. I hated it. But guess what?
You mean tell me I could have came got some curly fries?
Facts.
You could have hooked the brother up with some mini tacos.
Y'all wasn't even born during that time, so I'm gonna leave y'all alone. That was
man, I could have
sourdough jam.
That was 93. Y'all wasn't even born at that time.
We gotta go back in time.
Y'all wasn't even born for that.
I'll get my ass some curly fries.
What's Jack in the Box?
The one in Hawaiian Gardens.
Write it down.
The one in Hawaiian Gardens.
Hey, you think we show up now? We'll get free food.
Look, y'all remember Cam back in '93? But yeah, brother.
But that's the thing that I would convey to y'all. It's like, look, you know, in death, you know, you see a lot of people who's fallen by the wayside, who's passed away, who's done all this stuff. You know, don't celebrate them after the fact that they passed. If you really are rocking with these people, you celebrate them while they are here.
Let them know.
So even the people, especially the people who you are immediately, close to, friends of, whatever it may be, you need to show a sense of appreciation all the time. And like I said, in reverse, you want to know how that appreciation is flipped. Walk into a building and see how many people say what's up and dap you up. You will understand what that appreciation is, because even in that simple gesture, that means that they actually know, recognize, and say what's up to you. Because a lot of people don't even do that these days.
Remembered you.
Yeah, so they actually are remembering you, and because they actually know that you are somebody, at least somebody important enough to even say hi, what's up, how you doing, everything good.
So, Cam, question to you, man. Since we're on the topic,
come on.
So, you got kids, so
Of course.
now have you?
Shout out to my
Yeah.
two, by the way.
Shout out to your kids.
Shout out to Silhouette.
And shout out to your son in the Navy.
Yeah. He in the Marines right now. I mean, I can't. I know where he is. But I can't. I would not disclose that on cam. But he is overseas serving the country. He's doing well. He's having a hard time trying to order some food. But yeah,
I might DoorDash him.
I'm like, dude, if I can DoorDash you some real food from the U.S., I promise you. But he is nowhere near the U.S. right now.
Shout out to your son,
but he's doing the same thing. I love my chickadees. They know that.
Support our troops.
They
Much
know
love
that.
and respect to them.
But anyway, go ahead. Ask your question.
So for you, Cam, because you have kids, have you ever had? I mean, I'm pretty sure you have, but are your kids prepared for everything, just in case if anything happens, like to you wise? Are they prepared to, be able to, like, you know what, we got this, we got our dad.
They are prepared enough, meaning that I know that my son is prepared. My daughter's 17, so she's somewhat prepared if something was to happen to me or to her mom. They're somewhat. I mean, she's somewhat prepared. I know my son is a lot more prepared. He has a little bit more of my temperament, my discipline. So I think he's a little bit more prepared in that regard. But ultimately, like I said, if I was to go, or if their mom was to go, or somebody really tight was them to go, like their, like my mom or my their mothers, like grandparents or whatever, I know they would take it hard. I mean, I'm not going to say that you're not going to take it hard. No. I know that they would ultimately bounce back.
That's another thing real quick is that, we're not trying to say that, death, not to react to death, because, I mean, let's face it, you can prepare for death as much as you want. Right. Not your death, the death of others.
Right.
You can get it in your head. You can completely... But you can completely try to fortify yourself against it. But at the end of the day, if it were to actually happen, no one's prepared for it.
Right.
It's going to hit you, and it's going to hit you hard.
Yeah, no.
And that's a natural reaction.
Right.
Because, it hits you that this person is gone and they are not coming back.
Right.
And then once that's processed, it's a feeling of, absolute sadness. And that's natural, So, just wanted to clarify that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I say I don't want to take it to the point where it's like, I would never feel sad if they left,
Because that's not human.
Right, but I know that even with I had this conversation with a couple of people in my family, and they were like, we don't really need a funeral. Yeah, I want to be buried, but we don't need a funeral. I want a party. I want a party.
And that's the way to go.
I don't want y'all to be sad. I want y'all to celebrate.
And you know what? And I respect that.
Celebrate life.
Because it's like certain people be like, man, you ain't gonna have me a funeral. Just throw some music on, celebrate my life.
Celebrate life. Yes,
and
we can have like the little burial.
I mean, you can get it. You can get emotionally that's there, but just celebrate my life.
Celebrate life.
And I think for me, that's what I want. Just celebrate my life.
Don't mourn what is. Celebrate what was.
Yeah. And sometimes you celebrate what's ahead, because again, the legacy. If you do it the right way, that legacy you're passing the legacy to so many different people. You gotta understand, every single person whom you interact with, you're leaving a segment of you with them if you're doing it the right way. Even in something simple, even in a hey, how you doing? How's everything going? You don't know what type of impact that's having to a stranger that you don't even know.
Yeah.
It's something as simple as literally asking, how are you?
Yep.
They will remember that.
Yeah,
exactly. So can I ask you both a question?
What's up?
Has there? Oh, I'm pretty sure it has. Like anybody, like what death and like it either could be a friend or a family, like hit you the most and really got you
That ate
just
you up
shut
from the
down. Yeah,
inside?
yeah.
Well, I have had family members die, but I don't want to sound mean, but I haven't had anyone who's really close to me die yet.
Got it.
I still have both my parents. I still have my grandma. I still have my brother and sister. I still have all my cousins and my aunts, and my one uncle, and I still have all my friends. I haven't suffered that yet, but it does. I do keep in the back of my mind that my grandmother is advanced in age.
Yep.
And she didn't live the healthiest life, growing up poor and whatnot. You ate what you had,
Right.
and she's not doing too hot. She's not in the hospital or anything. She's still at home, but every day that I see her, I know it's a real matter of time. And I do think about it from time to time. It's why I like to keep myself occupied with podcast music. I have to listen to something. I can't be left alone in silence. And my mind will wander to that, and it's not a good time.
I got you.
But when that happens, a lot will change.
I understand that.
And, but yeah, I haven't suffered that yet.
Yeah.
What about you, Ken?
For me, like I said, it was my cousin and my grandmother, and the reason why I mentioned those two because they were they were really far apart. They were like years apart. I mean, my cousin for one, only because it was in the manner in which he was lost, and because we were one age different. He was 1 year older than me. He was supposed to be the one to graduate high school first and graduate college first ahead of me and my sister. That didn't happen because of what happened with him. That didn't happen. So it took away a lot. And for my family, a lot of my family members on that side of the family, they didn't get a chance to go to college. They didn't do a lot of stuff. I'm the first one to graduate college. Me and my sister we're the second youngest and youngest respectively in our generation. And we're the first and second to graduate college. Just to give you a benchmark. But it really should have been him. Whereas with me, it was and on the flip side, my grandmother, because on my mom's side of the family, she was the gluing piece to everything. Everything ran through my even though my grandfather's still alive, but it didn't really run through him. Everything ran through my grandmother. We did everything at her house. Every single event happened. If she wanted anything. If she said, pull up, I don't care who it was. Yeah. We pulled up. I don't know if I told y'all the story, but I will tell y'all the story real fast before we head out. During when they had the Rodney King riots, she's in Lamar.
Was that 91 or 92?
I want to say like 92.
Because that's when the early riots.
Okay. It was the early 90s.
Yeah, early 90s. So it was so she was living in Lamar Park, and we were living out in Lakewood, California. She said, "Yo, it's getting crazy out here. I need y'all to pull up." We stopped everything. We pulled up. All the craziness, all the stuff happening. We drove. Yeah, we pulled up. Want to know why? She asked. She napped asked twice. My mom said, "We pulling up. We're gonna make sure grandma was okay." Say no more. Yeah, we had school, we had homework, and all kinds of stuff. Didn't care. Make sure we did it. We all, and as a matter of fact, the whole family basically pulled up.
Yeah. And you know what? Not to cut you off, and you just touched me right there because my grandmother would say, "Well, everything had to run by her." She was the head of the household.
Anything popped off.
Cooking, baby showers, bring everybody, pull up, have a come.
If
something popped up, you better be at this house.
When she was alive. Where do you want to have Thanksgiving? Where do you want to have Christmas, Grandma? You want to have it at your house? You want to have it someplace else? And then she'd be like, I don't care. It's like, let us know. You want to have it at the house, we have it at the house. So 9 times out of 10, we would have it at her house. You want to know why? Because that's where she wanted it. But I tell you what, when she was alive, 95% of the family pulled up no matter where they were. Unless they physically couldn't do it or they had circumstances that they couldn't, they pulled up.
Yeah. And for me, it was my grandmother, my brother, and my uncle. My grandmother was, it got me real hard because, she was somebody, who raised me and, taught me how to cook, taught me how to, make sure you keep your house clean, you keep your appearance up. But when she passed, I shut everybody up because it's like I didn't want to do nothing, and my grandmother's not here. You just don't. I'm used to her just, you ever had one of those phone calls from your mom or your grandmother, middle of the night, you might be asleep, she just leave it, wake up, baby, wake up, wake up, wake up,
Yep.
And I had that with her. She used to always call either me, my mom, my uncle. We don't answer. Y'all wake up, y'all wake up, y'all wake up. It's time to party, time to have fun. So that hit me. My brother, when he got killed, we wasn't on good speaking terms at the moment, but then, but a week before he got killed, we, talked a bit, and it's something, I haven't, this is the first time I open up about this, I haven't told my mom this, but we had a good conversation and this and that and the other. And, I always told him, I love you, little brother, but, regardless of what me and you went through, because we both come from, different backgrounds, we both had different fathers, we both had the same mom, but when he got killed, it just, I turned into like, I wanted revenge mode, like, and that's anything, that's all, brother, because I was like, I ain't got nothing to do, so they got my brother, they gonna come get me.
Yeah, and that part I could agree with because that's how I felt with my cousin.
Yeah.
But the one thing is that my other cousins stopped that from happening because look, there's a bigger picture.
And for me, because when my brother got killed, I was at that stage.
Oh, we was ready to ride.
Yeah, I was at that stage, and what saved me, and it still gives me. It was one of the managers from the job back in the day. She doesn't work there no more. But when that day she called me, she was like, "Don't you do nothing stupid."
Yep.
And I told her I can't keep it. I can't promise you that because I was locked in. I was ready.
Oh, I know. I begin.
And she saved me. And I always thank her so. She saved me from
making that big with my cousin.
Turning my life where would have been at now.
And this is why I said about connecting with people because you never know. Like it's not sometimes in connecting with different people, those answers are not going to come from somebody who you think is going to be immediate. It may come from somebody way on the sidelines that you don't even know yet, and they're going to say something. And it's going to connect, and it's going to be like...
Because I was, and I tell this everybody, I was ready.
Yep.
I was ready.
Yeah.
I was like, it's going to be either me or them.
Yeah, but like I said, it was my cousins who kept me, like, on the ledge. And, my pops was like, no, don't worry about it. We got this. Don't worry about it. You cool out.
And, my past relationship at the time, she was, she kept me together on that because she knew how I was. And, like you said, having good people around,
You got to.
And then I had to protect my mom do all the time through that and stuff and that. But,
because
those two, and then, my uncle, just those three alone there hit me the most, But, in closing on this, I just always, there was a topic I wanted to bring up because it's like, from life and death, it teaches me or teaches anybody so much to like, what are you going to do to prepare for your life, and what do you leave behind for when your life is not here anymore?
Yep. Good.
Well, thank you for telling us that. No, it's not always easy to talk about it.
Yeah. It's just, and I know we passed time. It just, it's something I've been wanting to get out, clear the air with, just because, the recent death that happened, recently I told you guys this. And, it taught me so much, not just the death part, but just that, life is too short, and regardless of what you go to, you got to make amends on certain things that you really don't want to, but you have to, to make sure your soul is at one. And recently I told you guys this, I finally made that trip to Riverside to go visit my grandmother's grave a couple months ago, and it's giving me value of not only life, but just,
Reinvigorated you?
I want to just say that, just closure. No, I take it back. Not closure, just reinventing myself and let me know that everything's going to be all right. Yep. So don't stress about anything.
Of course. Today's topic was very important.
Was it episode 16 or episode 17?
Maybe 17.
17. Okay, so it's episode 17, ladies and gentlemen. But
17
still,
dash, 17 dash.
But we do appreciate you guys rocking with us. Vic, you got anything, brother?
Well, as always, I want to thank you all for tuning in for another episode of the PVC Crew.
I gotta say something. I'm sorry, because I love this guy to death right here so much. Vic makes my day all the time when he cracks up those jokes, man.
I know we didn't get a chance to get to a lot of the points, so we will. Don't worry.
It's not that kind of episode.
Yeah, but I just want to give you appreciation, brother. Much love to you.
Always. But yeah, today's episode was important because let's face it, there's somebody out there who needs to hear this, or at the very least, talk about it to somebody else. And I'm glad that we had this conversation with one another and each other. It's lifting in a way to get the words out. Things they feel a little lighter now. And I hope that helps some of you out there who have perhaps lost somebody close to them.
Definitely.
Or is in the process of losing somebody. And I know that, pain is universal. And I just hope that this eases it a little bit, or at least helps you, or gives you the courage to talk to somebody else, somebody close to you about it. Because at the end of the day, I like doing this PVC stuff with my brothers here because it's just enjoyable, but I also just I hope to help somebody out there. Even if it's just one person one time, that justifies everything. And I'll pass the torch to Cameron here.
My boy Nerd Boy Fresh, give us that final thought.
No, Professor Fresh.
Professor Fresh.
Nerd Boy Fresh. I know y'all learned something new today, huh?
Yes, sir.
How do I want to go about this? Let's do this. In short, live life. Live life and live life to the fullest.
I thought you were going to say that fucking thing.
No.
I was waiting on that.
I was waiting for you to hit
but
me Jerry Springer. I wasn't going to hit y'all with
he didn't do it, so I'm like, okay, we on to something today.
No.
I thought you were going to say live, laugh, love.
Live, love, life, laugh. Nah. Just on the strength, live life, have fun with your life. Go out, go experience different things, go hang out with people, make sure that you're doing the best you can to communicate to people, at all times. Even if it's just a greet, say what's up, how you doing? And part of living is to instill your thoughts, your ideas, your, just your communication, just your experience, your, love to others. Let them feel who you are. Let them experience who you are. In that's going to grow you as a person. That's going to grow them as a person as well. And that's going to get you to start to live. Go experience different things. Get out of y'all city. Go do something. Go out. Go, even if y'all means y'all go eat at Lucille's in another city. Go do that. You want to know why? Because you get a chance to see different people doing different things and get taken care of by different people. So you're going to learn more from that experience alone.
You get the story.
And you know what? And you said that perfectly said, because that's when I was doing Lyft. I loved it because going to different cities, meeting different people, seeing new stuff that I never thought I would see.
Experience different places. I'm not saying that you don't do to the point where it's at nauseum, or you don't do something that is so risky that you're risking your life.
We're not saying don't be stupid and extreme. Exactly. Don't do that. No.
But just
Don't
go
go
out,
bungee jumping.
go out, go experience life. Because
I might want to do that.
if you walk yourself in fear,
You see a black fat guy doing the bungee jump?
nah, we don't bungee jump.
Brothers don't do that.
Gamers don't dance with boogie, and we don't bungee jump.
Oh God, it snapped.
we don't do none of that. But
is he holding a?
But I ain't gonna front though. But if you really want to bungee jump, hey, that's your call. Experience that. Experience that. There's a little. I've done zip lining before. Zip lining is dope.
But you bungee jumping?
Not a bungee jump. I zip lined before.
Oh, now we know the next episode.
So we did the zip lining thing. I did that out in Vegas. That was pretty dope. But experience life. Have fun with life. Don't be so consumed and fearful of death that's going to hold you back. Because if that's one of the things that's holding you back, then you really need to try to, do some things to break away from that fear. Stop operating in fear. Part of the thing when I talk about risk reward is to take risk. That means you're taking risk with little or no fear. You got to be kind of fearless in order to take risk in anything in life. So if you're afraid of death, don't be afraid of death. If you want to know about, as far as like the belief portion of things, about, understanding about God and the heaven and hell conversation, we can have that conversation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yes.
Where you could definitely reach out to us. You could catch us right here on the YouTube page if you're watching along on YouTube.
First video.
For all the people who is
first video, wow, PVC.
For all the people checking in on Spotify and on Anchor.fm, y'all could definitely catch us on the YouTube page. Y'all can also reach out to us. PVC Podcast Crew at gmail.com. We'll have all the information below on the YouTube page, of course. But yes, if you have any questions, any concerns, and on any of that stuff or anything that we talked about today, definitely reach out. Let us know. We definitely love to hear from you. Leave your comments below. Like, subscribe if you like what we're doing, of course. But besides that, I got to get my boys up out of here. So, for my man Paul, for my man Vic, my name is Cam, a.k.a. Mr. Nerdboy Fresh. We are the PVC Podcast Crew, and this has been Laying Pipe with the PVC Crew. Like always, it is God above everything. Till the next time, family, we'll do it again soon.
Much love and respect.
Salute.